and clear.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on tonight, right? Um, when I started the show, I wanted to bring people on from all industries. And the land of Kush is a special place. And so, before we get started on the journey, um, if you can just introduce yourself and just kind of give us a brief overview of the land of Kush, and then we're just going to take it all the way back to the beginning of the journey.
Oh, okay. Well, you only got one half of the Land of Kush here. So I'm Nadja Wright Brown. I'm the co-owner of the Land of Kush Vegan Soul Bistro. It's an award-winning vegan soul food restaurant. We've been open. It will be 10 years in January. Our website is landofkush.com. And we have award-winning crab cakes. We have vegan barbecue ribs, collard greens, mac and cheese, yams, chickpea burgers, lentil patties. If you ever thought vegan food was just rabbit food, then you ain't have real vegan food. So, so that's what we're about. I'm also the co-creator of Vegan Soul Fest, which is a premier vegan festival in Baltimore. Unfortunately, we couldn't have it this year because of the pandemic. I'm also the co-creator of Maryland Vegan Restaurant Week, which has been running for 3 years in the winter and the summer. We just finished up a successful one in August. And I'm also a digital contributor for Naja Speaks, where I interview all things vegan, people, cooking, culture, and events.
Wow, you're busy.
and I have an 8-year-old, so let's add that one.
Now, take us back, right? Because the beginning journey, because being vegan for a lot of families is unheard of, right? And
Why? It's been a black thing since the Rastafarians, since the African Hebrew Israelites, since Indians, since it's not new to us. I don't know why everybody thinks this is brand new.
and that's why I wanted you on the show, right? Because the way I grew up, it was unheard of, right? And so, and it's a special thing because I was vegan for about 3 years, and I enjoyed it. And so, one of the challenges was is just the miseducation, right?
Right.
And so, um, take us back, right? So, educate us. When did you first um, become introduced to the vegan way of life?
2005. And I've known about tofu all my life since I'm in my early 20s. So tofu was called bean curd to me. So I was always familiar with bean curd because I used to get bean curd and black bean sauce and brown rice at the Asian restaurants when I worked on Park Avenue in New York City. So that was tofu was that I've been knew about tofu. But fast forward all the way to 2005 when I relocated to Maryland through company relocation. I got a physical and my cholesterol came up too high. And, if you think of some of the things that you consume that have cholesterol, like eggs with the yolk, 70% cholesterol. Dairy has cholesterol in it, and dairy is your whole milk and your cheeses and cakes and ice cream and things like that. Just take a look at some of the things that you consume, the back of the ingredients, and you'll see how much cholesterol is in a lot of stuff. My cholesterol was too high at age 33, and because I'm holistic and I don't take meds, no, I don't even take an aspirin for a headache because I don't get headaches. That wasn't an option for me. So I had to figure out what I was going to do to bring this cholesterol down. Now, I didn't know about no vegans, no vegetarians, those terms and stuff like that I wasn't familiar with. I was just on a journey to bring my cholesterol down. I was taking garlic pills and drinking skim milk, 2% milk, things like that. And then a year later, I met my now husband, Greg, who worked at Verizon Wireless. He was just coming in, and we were on the same management team. And he was bringing in these dishes where I saw the tofu. So he would make tofu dishes with different sauces, barbecue, curry, mustard sauce, things like that. And then we started having a conversation, and then he introduced me to the vegan term and the lifestyle. And that's kind of how we evolved to where we are today with the Land of Kush and all the projects that we've been working on.
Mm.
Yeah, and I'm also the executive director of the Black Vegetarian Society in Maryland, which is the nonprofit arm of the Land of Kush.
Wow. So now, when was the first idea to start the Land of Kush, right? Because
That's a Greg story. That's my husband's story. This Land of Kush is his baby. He wanted to bring this this vegan food concept to Baltimore residents because it's a healthier way of eating, and just trying to figure out how to do that. He was vending at Jazzy Summer Nights. This is way before he met me. And if he was to tell the story, he would say the organizer was looking for vegan chefs to vend at this event, but he would approach friends that he knew that cooked vegan, and they would say black people don't eat vegan food, so they didn't want to do it. So because he had this idea that he wanted to open a restaurant, he said he'll do it. And for the first time he went out and vended, he sold out within 2 hours. So that's when, it just came to him that there's a need for this type of food. So when he was at Verizon Wireless working, it was to recruit funds and to build, a nice cash cushion. So when he came out, he can invest in a business like this. And that's what happened. So and then he met me in the process. So we got together, we banded together, and we invested in this business. And here we are. Like I said, it's a decade later. Online.
We got food.
Okay. My daughter said we have food because my husband just finished cooking. I mean, he does most, if not all, of the cooking. So
you know what? That's very impressive, right? And one thing I would like to ask you, because to go back to the beginning, right, of the conversation and the education and making people aware, what are some of the things that you're involved in the community to help make people aware? Because like you said, it's not a new way of living, but for some African Americans, they don't understand the benefit or how to really prepare meals and things like that.
Right. I mean, if you think basic fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, beans, nuts, and seeds, that's the diet right there. So nobody can't tell me that they can't live off of that, because that's food. That's real food right there. It's not processed. It doesn't have any additives or chemicals in it until you put, and especially if you're growing organically, you're definitely not going to have that. But to your point, the cooking is always, well, how do I make a potato? Really? How do you make a potato? How do you make collard greens? How do you make yams? How do you make corn? How do you eat a banana? Like, if you're going to, if you're going to reach for sweets, bananas, apples, blueberries, strawberry, these are all foods. So I don't know why we're alien to this stuff. Like, these are real foods. I remember a time when, my daughter had a birthday. No, she was at one of her preschools, and they had all these artificial type of cupcakes, and I brought her an organic whole wheat flour cupcake with, natural ingredients. And she's not a sweet tooth, so she doesn't like sweets, but I just bought it for her so she wouldn't feel like she was being left out when they divvied everything out. And my daughter didn't want to eat it because, again, she doesn't like sweets. And they's like, well, because she wants a real cupcake. And I said, look at the back of your cupcakes, and I want you to tell me what's real about your cupcakes. Everything was artificial coloring, ingredients, things like that. So people need to really watch what they're saying when they're talking about food and understand what natural is and what it isn't. When you're eating grains, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables, legumes, that is real food. The food that you're eating, the dead carcasses and the chicken and all of that, that's not food. In my mind, that's violence. And not to say that I haven't consumed that in my early days, because I have, because that's the culture. That's what you're growing up on. But when you learn and you know better, you do better. So the point of having, let's say, a vegan soul fest in the city of Baltimore was to fulfill that purpose, to educate people, bring in those plant-based vegan doctors, bringing those expert speakers of African American descent that can educate you on this lifestyle in case you didn't realize there were people out here that was living healthily and successfully as vegans. So the Vegan Soul Fest and also the Maryland Vegan Restaurant Week, and then through the nonprofit, the Black Vegetarian Society of Maryland, we've been doing food as medicine webinars for free to teach you how to eat food, this type of food, and it be, used as a type of medicine to heal some of or help you with some of the ailments you may be experiencing. And for anybody that's interested in seeing that, if you go to bvsmd.org, so like Black Veg Society of Maryland.org, and go to the blog page, you can see the replays of that. And we have another one coming up next Saturday. So those are the things that we do. And then we also have someone in the collective, Crystal Foreman, that does cooking demos. You can go to the Black Vegetarian Society of Maryland Facebook page, and you can see how she's cooking with produce that's grown from urban gardens. So it can be done, and it can be done affordably.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times the misconception with what you just said is that you can do it affordable.
Right. You don't have, when you get into processed foods or cheeses and meats and all of that, that's when it gets expensive. But you don't have to eat that way. If you're really trying to live a happy, healthy, plant-based lifestyle, you have to do it with whole foods. Processed food is processed food, whether it's a beef hot dog, turkey hot dog, veggie hot dog, it's processed food. Now, I'm not saying, you need to eliminate it totally from your diet, but that stuff you should be consuming in moderation. Your primary diet should be of whole food, plant-based products.
Yes, I agree. And you know what? That was one of the challenges that I experienced when I went vegan, right? Because I ate a lot of processed food.
Because you want to substitute it for the things that, I know. I know. I trust me, I know. I was looking for pizza when I transitioned, because I'm from New York City, and that New York City pizza was very addictive. So trust me, I know what it is.
So how did you make that transition, right, to become more whole food minded? How did you make that switch?
Well, I'm a rice and beans person anyway. I got Puerto Rican in me, so I'm half Puerto Rican. So I've always been a lover of rice and beans. So the grains right there, and then just exploring different grains, trying quinoa, which has a lot of protein in it. Quinoa is real light. I like light dishes, so that with different sauces, we have to, as a people, we have to be able to open our minds. A lot of times we're narrow-minded and we're stuck in our ways. It's especially when we get older. When you're younger, you're willing to try new things. When we get older, we get stuck. Oh, I don't want to, do this. But your health is your wealth. If you're suffering from diabetes, if you're suffering from obesity, if you're suffering from high cholesterol, you owe it to yourself and your family to figure out what are you going to do to solve for these health ailments. And you can reverse diabetes. You can reverse, type 2 anyway. You can reverse certain things that you're dealing with. And it's going to be done through the whole foods. Now, of course, you want to get the guidance from your doctor. I prefer you get it through a plant-based doctor. They are out there. There was just a Reclaim Your Health Summit that took place this week, and they had nothing but plant-based doctors that were teaching you how to eat more healthily. And if you want to know about that, that's reclaimyourhealthsummit.com. You can get with Dr. Judy, the plant-based doctor. So the resources are out there. You just have to be open and understand that your health is your wealth. You could be rich as you want. If you're not healthy, you're not helping anybody. I see people driving luxury sedans, filling it up with premium gas, and then consuming $5 burgers. Like, this is your machine right here. You better put the premium fuel in this, because this is all you got for the next how many years? You ain't getting another one. You ain't trading it in like a car. Wake up, people. Our people need to wake up. And then with the COVID pandemic, why are we the ones that are mostly affected? Because of our health. We choose to be selfish with ourselves and indulging and all these things that are bad for us. And then we want to cry. Well, some of us aren't even crying. We just say, oh, we're going to die anyway. Well, I'd rather die healthy, breathing, and able to live as long as I could see, my daughter grow than to be selfish and say, well, I'm just going to eat all these cakes every day and these ice creams and stuff like that. And I could care less if I could barely breathe. You know what I'm saying? You really have to sit back and assess yourself and your decisions and make the right decision that's going to benefit you and your family.
You know what? You know what you just said that was so important was the long term thinking.
Right.
That's important. A lot of people miss that because, like you said, we're out here, we're trying to make money, we're trying to build wealth. But if you're not investing in your health, you and your family are going to lose in the end.
Absolutely. You got the black man dying young, leaving, we're already struggling with, single moms having to raise kids. But if you're in a family where it is a whole family, you have both of the parents now, if your husband's not taking care of his health or your wife's not taking care of your health, who knows what's going to happen? You know what I'm saying? So you got to really think not just for yourself, for your whole family.
And from all the things that you're involved in, I want to thank you personally, right? Because the reason I started this show is because I wanted people to be aware of so many different things. And when you mentioned the event of having doctors that are plant-based, I never heard of that.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. Like I said, the plant-based MD, her name's Dr. Judy, and she felt the need to put this conference together again because people don't know this is out here. Like it's hard to find, for some reason. But she put all of these plant-based doctors together, and she put on the first ever Reclaim Your Health Summit. So I definitely challenge everybody, look her up, Dr. Judy, the plant-based MD, or type in Reclaim Your Health Summit, and there goes your plant-based doctors. And one of the doctors on there is Dr. Mills. He was in the documentary What the Health. So if anybody saw What the Health, and he speaks every year at Vegan Soul Fest, let's start there. He's a vegan doctor, and he talks about the African American consuming dairy, and it's not good for us. We should not be consuming dairy. It is not good for our digestive system. So we can't force people to do things, but we can deliver the education. So if you know better, maybe you'll do better.
I like you. I like your personality, right? Because you're unapologetic about the truth, and I like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're all adults here. I mean, you're going to do what you want to do, but, don't, what happens is when people are challenged with reaching their goals, and that's fitness goals too, because you got to work out too. It's not just about eating the right way. You still got to get your fitness in, 30 minutes, 3 days a week minimum. Don't feel, upset because somebody wants to be healthy or eat healthy, and you want to shame them for eating healthy. Nah, shame on you. You know what I'm saying? Shame on you. I'm trying to live my life. Anybody know Chef Babette? She's in her 60s. She looks gorgeous. Chef Babette. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Toned, all of that. That's how I want to look when I'm 60.
And it's possible. And it's possible, and very doable. You know what I mean? And with people getting the proper education, that's where it starts. It starts with feeding your mind, so now you can feed your body better.
Right. I've lost over 10 pounds in this pandemic. So there's no, see, I didn't sit down and binge eat I mean, I have my vegan donuts once in a while and my ice cream. Yes, don't get me wrong. But I've worked out during the pandemic. You know, my gym, my personal coach, the health deck coach, he calls himself Coach Gert from Live Now Fitness. They went virtual and they stayed consistent, and we were virtually working out. And you know, now they're working out outdoors on certain days. Like I kept up the regimen, and I lost weight, and I'm happy about that. I'm trying to get another 10 pounds off. And it's strength training. It's not just cardio. You know, we're building strength. We're building these machines. You know, like I said, the only machine you have, we're building these things up to be strong, lean, and mean.
Yeah.
And not shaming anybody, but
Yeah.
you have to assess yourself and assess your life and make those certain decisions. And it's not easy. I mean, if you're obese, you didn't get there overnight,
That's true.
but you're going to have to work to get it off. And it's not going to be, oh, in 30 days, you're going to get all of that up. You have to mentally get your mind ready and get into a program of this is what I need to do to reach the goal that I need to reach, whatever that goal is. And you have to be disciplined and you have to hold yourself accountable.
Now, how important, speak to the people about how important it is to surround yourself with like-minded people like yourself. How
Oh,
important?
you speaking my language now. I did a talk for the National Afro Vegan Conference this year. And if you go to Naija Speaks and you spell my name Naijha, and I'll put it in the comments, I did a talk on how to maintain a healthy family. And it really, the foundation was based off of happiness. Because you're not happy, then nothing is going to be healthy around you. You have to be happy. Um, and I'm sorry, what was the question? Because I was going to lead up to why I say this, because I talked about that in the presentation that I did. So what was the question again?
The question was, how important is it to surround yourself with
Yes.
like-minded people?
Yes, I actually did two talks too. One was called Brick City Wall Street. Circle of influence, and I talk about that all the time. Circle of influence. If you're around people that aren't lifting you up or supporting you in your goals and aspirations, then you're around the wrong people. If you're around the naysayers or the people that's always trying to say, oh, well, that's not going to work, and they're not even doing anything themselves, then you're around the wrong people. In order to get to some place, you need to surround yourself with like-minded people. Period. End of story. If y'all all drinking beer and alcohol, whatever you're doing, and you're developing the big gut, then that's your circle of influence, and that's going to be you too. If you're surrounding yourself with people that like to work out and like to make money and make entrepreneurial decisions, then that's going to be your circle of influence. So I'm always promoting the circle of influence, and not that you have to get rid of all your friends, but you need to get rid of the toxic one. I'm sorry. I've done it, been doing it all my life. Go check out those talks. You'll see them on my page. Those are really good talks that'll motivate you into understanding that I come from an inner city, the South Bronx, single family home, and no excuses. You can succeed. Nobody's want to hear about your problems and what happened with your parents and all of that. Okay, that happened and you can't change it, but this is still your life. It's your responsibility. You're your own stock, your own brand. Are you a penny, $100, or $1,000? What you gonna be?
Woo! Now, have you always been this outspoken, or
Oh
was it
yeah.
always?
Anybody can tell you back in the day, just anybody can tell you that. That's why it's called Naja Speaks. People think it's Naja Speaks because of lectures and stuff. No, I didn't speak to a lot of people back in the days because if you didn't have nothing productive to talk about or something I wanted to, engage in a conversation with, nah, I wasn't speaking to you. You could call me whatever you want to call me, but I don't have time to talk about shoes and purses and who, his boyfriend got the fastest car. I don't care about that. I need to go get my money and I need to, to personally develop myself. If I don't got it, then hey, I need to do some work to get it.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I want people to listen to what you just said. You're very intentional about what you do. Very intentional.
Oh yeah, you have to be. You have to be. And I made all the mistakes and shout out to the sisters. We deal with a lot of things as being women and black women. But there's still no excuses. I was one of those that I'd be the only one in the room amongst men, whether it's black men, white men, whatever men. And the reason why is because I stayed ahead of the game and I was always on my A game. You know what I'm saying? You wasn't gonna catch me slipping. I was either the smartest one, or the more resourceful one, or the most proactive one. I've always been like that.
Yeah, yeah. Now, one of the last things I want to ask you about, right? Because you mentioned that you have an 8-year-old.
Oh
So talk,
yeah,
so talk to the parents about if they're considering being vegan, right?
yes,
And parenting a child in a vegan lifestyle, but in a dairy filled world. How do you what are some tips, right? Or some of the proactive things that you do in your household, to educate your daughter, and also, like you said, you brought the cupcakes to her school because you knew they were going to have dairy filled cupcakes. So
right.
so speak to that.
Well, my daughter's been there. She's been vegan since the womb, so she's from birth. So she didn't even have a taste of the meat and stuff like that, like me and my husband did. We grew up, so it was easy for her. There was no Kool-Aid and soda and stuff like that. So she drinks her water. She drinks fresh juices or fresh brew iced tea, things like that. So she's familiar with that already, and she knows to ask if something is. She calls it veggie or vegan. Is this veggie? When she was younger, she would say veggie. Now she knows vegan. Is this vegan or not vegan? And she understands that eating certain products can affect her digestive system, and that's why she can't eat it. And this is just a lifestyle that we live, so she understands all of that to the point where she'll talk to her grandmother about things that she's eating, like, grandma, why are you eating those eggs? It's not good for you. I haven't told her, but it's actually a chicken's menstruation, the eggs. But she'll get to that point when she gets a little older. But just describing to people what it is that they're eating. I mean, enjoy your food, but understand that that enjoyment can lead to effects later on. So my daughter, we just manage her diet. She likes to eat the processed foods like the drummies and things like that, but we also bring the whole food plant-based products into her diet to balance it all out. And she loves French fries. French fries isn't the healthiest thing, but we let her have her French fries as long as she's eating her kale salad, so she loves kale salad. So, just getting those greens in there. So we just have to manage all of that. And like I said, she's not a sweet tooth. She doesn't like to eat sweets, but she does like chips and things like that. So all as parents, we just have to manage all of that. And you'll be fine. Just make sure that you're following the nutritional rainbow, that they're getting those leafy greens. A lot of times that chicken nugget and those French fries all day long with the kid, like, that's not good. They need some healthy greens in their life. Some sweet potatoes, get them legumes in there, lentils. She loves lentils with quinoa. You got to introduce this stuff to them. And water. You know what I'm saying? We all could drink a little bit more water, but that's the go-to, water. She has no problem with it. Some of us adults are still struggling with drinking water.
I'm one of them. I'm getting better though, but
I
I'm
know,
one.
me too. I'm with you on that. I remember I come from that school of, we was just eating and drinking the Kool-Aid. Sweet tooth from the young age. So
Now, before we go, it's two things, right? I want you to let people know how they can connect with you. I think you mentioned it earlier, but I want you to
yeah, yeah,
mention.
yeah.
And then also, I like to end on a last moment of motivation, right? So, whatever your words of encouragement to people, I want to end with that. But before you do that, just let people know how they can contact you, reach out, and get involved with everything that you have going on.
Well, you can follow me at Naja Wright, and then we're already on the Land of Kush, so at the Land of Kush on IG. So I'm putting my IG in there at
Okay.
Naja Wright. And then Naja Speaks, I put that in there already, najaspeaks.com. I think that's a great way of seeing the type of interviews that I've done with all of these vegan advocates, and some cooking demos are in there. I think you'll get a wealth of information from these interviews. Some of them are kind of long. They range from 30 minutes to an hour, but depending on the topic you're looking for, it's well worth it. So you can go to najaspeaks.com for that. And then for the Black Veg Society of Maryland, our nonprofit, that's where you will empower yourself to learn more about the lifestyle. This is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week online resource where you can go on there yourself and do your own reading and engagement. There's links to like the vegetarian resource group. There's an eating guide on there, the African American Vegan Starter Guide. There's a link on there about how eating less meat will contribute to the benefits of the earth, and anything that has to do with environmental knowledge. There's also a couple of coaches on there, transformational coach, anybody that needs to be coached to live this lifestyle. That information is there, and any events that we're hosting, that'll be on there too. Or if you just want to reach out and you have a question, you can contact us through bbsmd.org. And then Vegan Sofa, when we have the events, those will be posted up. Vegan Sofa, unfortunately, we couldn't have it this year, but, we are in the process of planning something before the year is out. So we'll see. So I think the best thing is to follow at the Land of Kush, at Naja, right? You go to najaspeaks.com, bbsmd.org, and then you can go to landofkush.com if you want to order any food. I hope that answers the question of how you can reach us.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm excited to check out those links because education is the key, and taking action on what you learn. So,
and be empowered to do that. Everybody's looking for answers. Google is your friend. And I said that in my latest webinar, that leading a healthy, happy lifestyle. Google it. Google is the #1 search engine. And yes, there's tons of information out there and you have to sift through all of this, but YouTube is the second best search engine. So if you can't find something on Google, go to YouTube and see if there's a video out of it. So you have all the resources that you can possibly have. We didn't have this stuff back in our day, so it's a lot easier right now. So you need to use these resources to your benefit, because it could save your life.
Yeah, or someone else's life.
Yes. And talking about that, there's 2 authors that I interviewed in the past couple of weeks. One was the Brooklyn Borough president, Eric Adams. He just came out with a book called Healthy at Last. I recommend everyone purchase that book or purchase it for a friend that needs it. And then also the Hip Hop Vegan, if you're into the hip hop lifestyle. Those are 2 great books to read that will if you're into the reading, you'll gain a lot of knowledge from those books.
That's good. Last words of encouragement to the people.
Stay true to yourself, because you are a brand, and with that brand, that is your reputation. And stay true to yourself, love yourself, and don't let anybody put you down, because you are loved.
That's good. You know what? I appreciate you coming on the show.
I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you having me. Thank you. I appreciate you having me. I hope someone gets. If I touch one, then I've done what I needed to do for the evening.
Yeah. So I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. And tell the family I said hello.
All right. It's Maryland Restaurant Week and Black Restaurant Week. Please come down to the Land of Kush and support.
What are the hours for the people? What are the hours?
We're open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Sunday 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we have a brunch that runs from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. or while supplies last. So definitely check that out.
Will do. Thank you so much and enjoy your night.
All right. Have a good one. Peace and blessings, everyone. Have a good one. Bye-bye.